What's up, fam? How y'all doing? Hope y'all are doing awesome. Appreciate y'all. Today we're talking about what's better, peace or prosperity. We're going to get into that here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, so I did a little poll a little while back, and it was that question right there. What's more important, or what's better, peace or prosperity? I didn't get a whole lot of response, but basic it was close. It was a little bit more on the prosperity side, but it was pretty close. First, we're going to talk a little bit about peace. What is peace? Peace is a state of tranquility or quiet, such as freedom from civil disturbance. That sounds like a good thing. I think peace is good to have. And, a lot of people that, who wants war, who wants, even like right now in the Ukraine wars are going on, the Ukraine and Russia wars going on, and things like that. And at the time of this recording, just a couple days ago, was when Zelensky from Ukraine came and talked with Trump. Trump was trying to cut him a peace deal, and Zelensky just, I mean, he wanted peace, but he didn't act like he wanted peace. He wanted just more. He wanted kind of a safety net. It seemed like he wanted more prosperity than peace, and Trump wanted to get him a peace deal. Trump wanted to create a good peace deal for him, and they're both good. In a case like that, you want your peace, you want your ceasefire, you want your peace deal, because in a case like that, it's a peace deal, not a prosperity deal. But Zelensky wanted some kind of a safety net, some security, somebody to have his back, and right now he's kind of fighting to try and get into NATO, and Trump straight up told him, you're not getting into NATO because of reasons. I mean, it's not, we've been funneling so much money over to Ukraine, and technically they're not our ally, they're not a NATO country, and that's where a lot of us conservatives are kind of like, why is our tax money going there? We got those that are, on the left there. We stand with Ukraine. We're on, Trump's a bad guy for talking to him like that and for treating him like that, and Trump's just evil, and he's, but Trump's looking out for our country. He's looking out for the American people, and he's also looking to end the war. But Zelensky didn't want to really give up what Trump wanted. We spent over $300 billion to Ukraine, and Biden did it as kind of a gift, where a lot of these other European countries were doing it as a loan. We'll loan you this money, but you're going to pay us back. But we just, here, have some money, have some free money. Don't worry about paying it back. It's on us. And that's kind of the thing that Biden was doing. But Biden, he did it as kind of a gift, and Trump said, no, you're going to pay us back for that. So we want rights to your precious metals and your precious material, your minerals that you have in your country. And Zelensky didn't want to do it without having some kind of security, some kind of like he wanted us to put troops there to protect them, which again, they're not a NATO country, and they're really not any of our allies, and we shouldn't have sent that money over to Ukraine anyway, because they're not really technically an ally. The only reason we did that is because, and this is just kind of my opinion, there's no facts based on this, but the only reason we did that is because Biden and Zelensky were buddies, and that's the only reason we did it. But he did it on like this is just free money. You don't have to pay us back. And Trump said, no, for repayment, you're going to give us your rare minerals, or whatever they're rare minerals. I don't even know what minerals they got over there. I guess I should have looked that up before I started. But he wants their rare minerals that they have. It doesn't necessarily want them. He just wants rights to them. We're going to go over there and take our trucks and take our equipment and go over there and mine the material that they got over there. And we were going, and obviously we're going to probably send troops over there to protect that, which kind of gives him a security blanket anyway, because I really don't think Putin wants to go to war with the United States. And if we're over there to protect against Russia, that's going to piss him off, and he's just going to want to wage war even more. But if we actually go and do this, we're still going to send some troops over there to kind of help protect the mineral bases or the mineral mines that they're mining, just to keep, and just having our presence over there and our innocent civilians. Because whatever you think about Putin, I don't think he's going to mess with the United States and our civilian people if they're over there mining. So that kind of gives him a security blanket. But he wanted more. He wanted to come in there, and he just wanted to come in and force his way into getting more money out of us. I think he acts like he doesn't want to end the war. He doesn't want peace. He just wants to end the war, or he doesn't even want to end the war. He wants to fight it out, and he wants to not he doesn't want to give up, which is a good thing, good quality. Don't back down, don't give up, don't, But Ukraine doesn't really have anything. They have a very shortage of soldiers. They don't to fight on their front lines. And anyway, enough of that. We're starting to get into the woods on this war, but just peace. Peace is a good thing. Peace, you want world peace. You don't want any wars going on. You don't want any of that. But prosperity, on the other hand, is a condition of being successful or thriving or economic well-being type of thing. And that's more of a long-term thing. Peace I think is temporary because you can get a peace deal, but you're still you might still not be prosperous. Yeah, there may not be wars going on, but you might still not be prosperous. But can you actually have both? I don't know if you can necessarily have both. I mean, you can, but for how long? I mean, think about it. It's not really, it's kind of a think about it thing here is can you really have both peace and prosperity? Like take for instance, like racism and these George Floyd deals that they had back in 2020. I don't know, I'm sure y'all remember that. And some of this other stuff that are going on where they had these mostly peaceful protests. But what are these peaceful protests actually protesting for? They're protesting for prosperity. It's like, they want prosperity. And there were some people that were actually mostly peaceful, but there were some that were not very peaceful, and they were violent, and they were tearing down buildings and burning houses or burning them on, lighting them on fire. The best words. They were lighting buildings on fire. They were local businesses, overturning cars, and some people were actually getting hurt, shot, killed, whatever, but not whatever. I didn't say that to be rude. I just said things like that were happening, but the people on the left, they're just peaceful. They're just mostly peaceful, and they just want to make a statement. They want to get their point across. Then they feel like this is the only way to do it is to get their point across. But what they're really wanting is they're not really wanting peace. They're wanting prosperity. They want long-term equality or no racism or whatever it is they're fighting for, and that's a good thing. Peaceful protesting. And if you ask most, if not all, conservatives, they see the January 6th deal as peaceful protesting because there was not even close to as much violence as there was in some of these other cities. I mean, I don't want to get in, any kind of arguments over that. You have your opinion, I have mine, but regardless, mostly peaceful. I mean, and that's what they are. Peace is temporary. Peace is something you can use to fight for prosperity. And, in these peaceful protests, they were actually, even if they're peaceful or not, you're fighting for prosperity. You're not fighting for peace. No one's out there, peacefully protesting for peace. They're coming onto Facebook or whatever, these social medias, and they're putting things on their pages. So I stand with Ukraine. Just kind of showing their support. But is that really? And that's peaceful. They're not really hurting anybody. They're not, and that's fine. But if all they want is peace, I think prosperity is a little better. If you could have both, ideally, but world peace is hard. I don't think you're ever going to get world peace because there's people that just, there's your Vladimir Putin's out there. There's your Iran's. There's your Israel and Gaza, and Palestine and all. There's those people that they just, since the beginning of time, have never really got along. The United States and Russia have not really got along since pretty much the beginning of time. And it is what it is. And in that case, peace is decent because, you just stay over there, we'll stay over here. So, I mean, it's both good. That's the thing. What's better? I'm not here to tell you what's better. I think prosperity is better just because it's long term. It's better with economy. It's better with, we're prospering, thriving long term. Prosperity is more long term. Peace is more short term. but they're both good, and I think you can have both. One's going to go away because even mostly peaceful protesting for a cause, which is awesome. You fight for what you believe in, but you're fighting for prosperity. You're not fighting for peace. You're fighting for prosperity. Anyway, I'm just starting to ramble. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's just my opinion. If I left some stuff out or added, let's have a conversation. I put that post out there so we can kind of have conversations, and I figured I'd just do a quick little video on it and give my perspective on the two. They're both important. It's like a video I did before. It's about the left wants unity and diversity. That's kind of like what peace and prosperity is. Peace is diversity. Diversity is peace, where you can get along, be diverse and get along, be peaceful with each other. Unity is where you come together and prosper. That's kind of the thing. And you can do both. And let's also, calling for war, and there's a lot of things going on right now, and we could be on the verge of a civil war, which is definitely not peace. And I know it's the left that thinks we're the bad ones that incite violence and that are dividing the nation and all that, and that we're a threat to democracy. But it's them that are the ones calling for war. With this whole Elon Musk thing, they're the ones that are calling for assassinations and calling for war and calling for killing of people. And I don't wish death upon anybody, and neither should anybody else. Anyway, again, I'm rambling. I just want to come on and do a thing about that. Make some comparisons between the two. And these are just my opinions. These are just, not based on really any kind of facts. They're just the definitions of what peace is, the definition of what prosperity is, and my take on the two and what I think about it. And if I'm an idiot, call me an idiot. Tell me, let's have a conversation. But anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. There's stuff, there's links. There's the subscribe button if you feel like it. No pressure if you don't want to. Just appreciate you being here. Anyway, again, appreciate y'all. Love you. See you in the next one.